Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Engineering Quality, the podcast where we explore what it takes to build software that doesn't just work, but works well. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Veronika. Hi, all.
Hi, everyone. I'm Royalee, and today we are honored to welcome a guest who is truly a pioneer in Agile testing and a champion of team collaboration, the one and only Lisa Crispin.
It's so great to be here. I think I'm your number one fan as well.
Thank you so much for all the support as well, Lisa. We love seeing you following up our first season as well. We are kicking off season 2 today, and we couldn't think of a better way to start than with someone that has inspired so many of us in the software quality space. Lisa doesn't require any introduction, but gonna give her one anyway. So Lisa is an independent consultant, speaker, author. She's based in Vermont, and alongside Janet Gregory, she co-founded the Agile Testing Fellowship, where they build courses, written books, and help really shape the entire Agile testing movement. And on a personal note, I've known Lisa for over a decade now, and she's become a very good friend over the years. I've always admired her generosity in sharing her knowledge, her thoughtful leadership, and her tireless advocacy for diversity and inclusion, especially when it comes to conferences and community spaces. So I really appreciate that on you, Lisa. We'll have links for all of Lisa's amazing work in the show notes later, so look out for that. But for now, I'm just so excited to kick off season 2 with Lisa. We are so glad you're here.
I'm so glad. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yes, we really are so glad. So today we're diving into a concept that, Lisa, you have been advocating for years, right? So we're diving into holistic testing. But Lisa, before we get into the heart of that, could you share a bit about how you got started in testing and what was it really that sparked your passion for quality?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I had been a programmer for several years and was working for a software company at the time. This was in the 80s. One of the biggest software companies around. It was before Microsoft got big. And our customers called us on the phone. We picked up the phone and there was an angry customer. We didn't even have faxes for a while. And so as a tech support organization, it was so embarrassing for somebody to say, how could you not have known about this big bug in the newest release? And of course, we're sending things out on tapes. And so as customer support people or tech support people, we're like, what can we do about this? And so we asked the developers, we were in Denver, Colorado, they were in Germany. And we said, could you maybe send us an early copy of what you're going to send to customers, maybe even just a week before you give it to the customers so that we can install it and try it out and see if we notice anything terrible? And they were like, oh, yeah, we could do that. And so, they started shipping us the tapes a little bit early. And so then when the angry customers call, we could say, well, we know about that and we're working on a patch and we'll get that out to you next week. And our managers were like, testing, because that was not a concept in that company at all. And so one of our managers said, let's start a whole new group that all they do is test and manage the releases, make sure everything's ready. And so we have happier customers. And who wants to do that? And I put my hand up because it seemed really fun.
I love that.
Wow.
Yes.
It's so inspiring to see. It seems like you have been at the beginning of it all, was just like the first testing team was starting. This is just like, wow.
Well, I think
mind
other
blown.
people tested, just not us.
Yeah. I mean, just like for your company. Yes. I mean, just like you have your little world, and well, here you are right now, like famous worldwide. Okay. Yeah, and it's always interesting for me to hear everyone's stories, like on how they get into testing, and your story just stands out because it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like it's completely from different dimension that you entered. This is amazing. I love it. And now let's talk about holistic testing. You have written and spoken a lot about that. For those who are new to this concept, can you please share and define what the holistic testing is And how is it different from regular software testing and agile testing practices?
Yeah, Janet and I came up with this. Actually, Janet came up with the term holistic testing because we wanted to capture that testing happens throughout the whole software development lifecycle. And I think people think about it, well, of course, in the waterfall, think about testing it after coding, or even the shift left movement, if you will. Let's test early. Let's start, early and often. But not everybody thinks about what about the right side of that DevOps loop when we're
Exactly.
deploying it and getting it into production and in front of customers. And so we wanted to emphasize the testing activities all the way around. I think back in 2016, Dan Ashby published his continuous testing loop where he said we test here, 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 and here all the way around that DevOps loop. And we also wanted to capture the idea that all the members of a delivery team, everybody is responsible for quality and testing. And so we felt like the word holistic capture both of those aspects, testing all the time, and everyone being responsible, building quality in. So that's what it is for us. I mean, things like instrumenting your code, capturing the right kind of data so that you can watch it in production and learn how customers are using it, for example. Not everybody thinks about that, and those things are so important.
They are. They really are.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you say that, testing happens throughout the life cycle. And, we have seen this movement for shifting tests left, which was really beneficial because for a while, decades ago, what we were doing is just testing after development was done. So the shifting tests left helped because we started, together with the Agile engineering movement, we started testing much earlier during, coding and development and all of that. But what I love about the holistic testing idea is that, like you said, now you're incorporating even shifting tests right? All the testing that we do in production, monitoring, observability, all of that is also part of testing and part of giving us information about the quality of the software. So I love that. It makes so much sense. Holistic testing also it seems to me like it emphasizes continuous feedback and collaboration. Can you share a few practical techniques or tools that teams can use either early in the development process or to align around quality goals and employ this approach better?
Yeah, I like that question a lot because I see so many teams that don't take advantage of this time early in the development cycle to make sure that they build shared understanding. They all know what they're going to build and build the right thing right. And so a lot of times I've been on teams that did this too. We create a new feature and test it and give it to the product person or the business stakeholder, and they're like, "Oh, that's not what I wanted." So I actually see teams that embrace a lot of good development practices, test-driven development, pairing, continuous integration, but they just take the requirements from the product owner and they don't ask particularly any questions, or they might ask questions to clarify the requirements, but they never question the requirements. And maybe they don't have the opportunity or don't take advantage of the opportunity to understand their end users and their customers and what they need. And they don't think about risks at all. It seems so obvious to me that, of course, you would do a risk assessment or some kind of risk storming at the start of developing a new feature. But
You would think,
I'm
right?
telling you, really, teams of really smart people, usually teams without testers, don't do those things. And so we need to also identify what are the most important quality attributes. What's most important to our customer? Is it security? Is it performance? Is it accessibility? We have such a long list of what that could be. And our human brains, we can only focus on up to about 6 things at a time. That's something that research has shown. The paradox of choice. If we're looking at our Roku box on our TV, there's hundreds of things we could watch, and we get paralyzed flipping through all of them because we can't choose. So we need to focus. And so I like techniques like risk storming from Baron von Dyle, that first you choose the 6 highest priority quality attributes for that feature or that product, and then start brainstorming about the risks that could affect those quality attributes. And then how will we mitigate those risks? Lots of different ways we can do that. Testing early, monitoring in production, there's lots of ways we can do it. And so those kind of things, and using collaborative tools, mind mapping, any kind of brainstorming tool to think about the value of the customer. What do we need to focus on? What all is involved in this? Usually we underestimate how complex a new feature or even a new user story is. And so using those real-time collaboration tools to help us all think outside the box. I find those are things that are easy to adopt, quick to do, and easy for teams to take advantage of.
And following up from that question, how do you get the whole team involved in those discussions? Because I find, at least on a personal experience note, it's easier to have those conversations with the testers within the team, but I find it much more difficult when we want to have those conversations across the whole team or across the whole squad. What are some techniques that you've used, Lisa, to be able to bring the whole team into those conversations about the top 6 quality attributes and so on?
Yeah, it's real easy for me to tell people, hey, you should do this. And my teams have always ignored me just as much as they ignore other people. But what's worked for me most over the years is just trying to propose a small experiment. Like one team I was on, we were really failing at the shared understanding. And I mean, half of the stories we gave to our product owner were rejected. And so that was making our cycle time longer, and that's so frustrating. And I went to a conference and learned about example mapping from Matt Wynn. And I was thought, I think this could really help us. It's a really simple technique. Looking at business rules, get concrete examples for those business rules, do it in a pre-iteration planning meeting so that we can all get on the same page. And so I came back, of course, my team would always roll my eyes when I came back from a conference, like, what's she going to make us do now? But I said, hey, give me 30 minutes. I want to show you this new technique, because it was that quick to show them. And so I had them work through a little exercise. They're like, that's pretty cool. What if we try this for our next pre-iteration planning meeting? Just one thing. Let's just try it this one meeting. Oh, we did that. Worked pretty well. And then the iteration planning meeting went better, because we had all these business roles and concrete examples for each user story. And then I said, hey, could we try this for the next iteration too? And so pretty soon, fortunately, it did work. If it hadn't worked, we learned something and would try something different. So just trying those small experiments that doesn't take a lot of time. If it doesn't work out, we didn't lose a lot of time and money over it.
Yeah, I love that, Lisa. Thanks for sharing. It really does, make a difference when you can start just to show this won't take a lot of your time. It can be this quick, and this can be the impact. And once, people can see the results, it's easier to adapt and really try to make the changes. And so I want to switch a little bit and talk about DevOps, right? So as teams shift and move toward DevOps and CI/CD, where do you see the biggest gaps in how holistic testing is applied today? And what's your advice for teams looking to bridge those gaps?
Yeah, that's, there's so many teams want to achieve continuous delivery, or at least more frequent delivery of small batches of value to customers. And gosh, now how do we, I've actually heard some managers tell testers, just test faster now.
As if, right?
So we need strategies. But one thing that helped me, when I was on a team, I don't know, probably 10 years ago now, that we were trying to move towards continuous delivery. And we were struggling with it. And fortunately, I knew Ashley Hunsberger and Abby Bangser, and they showed me this idea of mapping, making a visual map of your deployment pipeline or your path to production. So when a change gets committed to or merged into the code repository, what has to happen to get that out in front of customers? Ideally, you would do that together with your whole team, right? Map your pipeline. And I actually did a workshop on it later on with Abby, and we developed a pretty cool way to do it. But it's very simple. And doing that together with your team is so powerful. It's like, okay, well, first we check it in, then we run static analysis, and then our unit tests run. And then you start looking for, it's not just the automated stuff. Some stuff's still, doing exploratory testing, accessibility testing, or things that just aren't automated yet. Making those visual starts to show you where your bottlenecks are, and you can prioritize. Well, we want we need a solid deployment pipeline. It's essential to continuous delivery. You have to have a reliable, quick way to build your artifacts and deploy them somewhere. And so it could be a value stream map, it could be a Wordly map, it could be just a simple flow chart, just sticky notes, virtual sticky notes on a Miro board, whatever. And then, think about release strategies like feature flagging that could help you. Let's hide that from customers in production while we finish our human-centric testing. Now, again, that said, I can tell everybody, do this together with your team. And the team I was on at that time, Ashley and Abby introduced me to this concept, but I couldn't get anyone else on my team to do it with me.
That's always the case.
So I did it myself. And I had a lot of questions like, why are we running these tests again? It seems like we already ran them back here. Or, why are we not automating this? And so it gave me questions I could take to my team, either just go and start chatting to a pair of developers or bring it up in a retrospective or a planning meeting. And it just gave me the ability to ask better questions. And the team was certainly wanting to address those things once it was pointed out to them. But, the best result is do it together. It doesn't take long and it reveals a lot of things.
Yeah, just come together and just figure things out. And again, as you mentioned before, just take it easy, take it slow, baby steps, improvements.
Baby steps, definitely. It's hard because I'm an impatient person, but that's what works.
Aren't we all?
Right?
All right. So, in your experience, who do you think should be driving holistic testing in the team, and how potentially can testers advocate for the whole team quality approach without stepping on anyone's toes?
One of the things that I've learned over the years is just, again, baby steps, start small, build relationships, just one person at a time. And you see a problem, you have an idea that maybe the team could try, look for the most friendly person on your team. We talked about doing behavior-driven development, and we're doing test-driven development, but we're not taking this next step. And we've agreed that we'll do this at the API level, but we're not doing it. And so I would do something like, okay, I'm pretty new to the team, but this developer talks to me a lot, so I think he's the friendliest. And so I can go say, hey, the story you're working on, could you spend an hour with me? We all agreed we'd use this tool for the API testing, but we haven't tried it yet. Could we try doing some tests for this story? And they agree. It's an hour. They're like me. And we try it, and it's like, wow, not only did we find the tools easy to use, but we found a couple bugs. And so the next day I stand up, the developer says, hey, Lisa, I used this new tool that we talked about, and it really was cool. It's pretty easy to use. We found some bugs. And then more people are willing, then more people might come to me or that person and say, hey, let me try it with you. And also to build relationships outside your team.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I learned when I join a new company, there's a platform team. Well, I'm going to ask the platform team manager, okay, could I have a one-on-one with you? And what usually ends up happening is they're like, hey, this was good. And they care about, especially if they care about testing. So, which people involved in continuous delivery usually do. And they're like, let's make this a regular thing. Let's meet every couple weeks. And so then our team needs to replace our deployment pipeline. Well, hey, I have a friend on the platform management team that will help us figure out the risks and put together a testing strategy. So I just building these relationships it's such a great investment of your time. And honestly, I learned that originally from Katrina Clokey's Practical Guide to Testing and DevOps book. She spends a lot of time in that book on why that's important and how to build those relationships. So that's what I try to advise people to do.
That's great advice, and I love that book by Katrina as well. And the part that you talked about building relationships outside of your team kind of reminds me also of Anne Marie's new book on quality coaching. She talks about the circles of influence for us to first look at what we can influence and start working on that, but also expanding that circle of influence as well, going outside of that particular circle that you might have right now. You can always expand it, and that makes a huge difference when we're talking about about holistic testing, when we're talking about quality overall, not just testing, but making sure that we improve quality in a team. So I love that idea.
Yeah. Anne Marie's book has a lot of good ideas on it, influencing and building more and more
Yes,
allies.
absolutely. And her book is a great book. It's just new, but it's really helpful too. So, Lisa, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show, especially on this first episode of our second season. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experiences with us today. But before we wrap up, where can our listeners follow your work or learn more about you?
Well, my website's lisacrispin.com. So that's the one place you can go, and it has links to our book website and our Agile Testing Fellowship website. And I'm on LinkedIn and on Blue Sky just as Lisa Crispin. So I'm pretty easy to find. And then I love to talk testing. So feel free to book a chat with me through my website. I always love to talk about testing. And thank you all for bringing your experiences and your expertise to everybody, to the whole community through your podcast and now your video podcast, because I'm sure people are getting a lot of great ideas from you and a lot of encouragement, because you're really out there doing this work and showing that we can achieve these things. So some days are hard, so you're going to give people courage.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so we'll have all this information, Lisa, that you just gave. We'll make sure that we have it linked, as we said, on our show notes and on our socials so that everyone can be able to access you. And just thank you so much again for joining us.
My
Yeah, thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for joining us. And it
Thanks
was
for having me.
such a great time. Like only 20 minutes, but so like the lot of knowledge that you gave us. That's amazing. Yeah. I'm sure everyone will enjoy listening to that.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
We had such a fantastic conversation with Lisa Crispin. I just love how she made holistic testing feel not just important, but actually something that's achievable for teams willing to put it in the effort. And I really appreciate the point when she talked about testers and that we don't have to carry the entire quality effort as well. So there's so much for us to unpack in this episode. I'm excited.
I'm so excited too. Yeah, I was really happy to have her on today. She dropped lots of great gems, even when she spoke about the importance of building those relationships, right? Because there's so many different teams that are isolated and that are islands, and it's so important that as we're trying to achieve this holistic testing, that we work together and that you have people, you have those connections in every department, not just in like whatever team you're working on. As she mentioned, like having people from the platform team or having people from security. It's so important to have these relationships.
I want to build up on that, and I just realized that holistic testing can have two meanings. First, we can say it's a holistic relationship between testers and the rest of the team, right? As like developers, product, well, even outside of the team, like platform. And also holistic testing, it's about different stages of the life cycle, right? It's like before code is written, while code is written, after code is written, after we deploy it. So everywhere, more like everywhere from a relationship standpoint and everywhere from a development lifecycle standpoint. I just realized that. I don't know.
So true.
Yes, I think I think a lot of people are also probably doing a version of holistic testing. They just are not calling it, and it's great to really put a name to things that we are doing, because it helps us explain it to other people. It helps us, more eloquently be able to explain. So I love when we put something and give a name to it. So I've been using holistic test name for a while, and I think it really helped the relationships. And like she was saying that, we should be building those relationships even outside of the engineering team. I think if we do have a vocabulary that we can share with those people, it's also helpful. So it's really nice to learn new words and share those as well when we are trying to build those relationships relationships outside and even within the team too.
Yes, and also I want to say that about like holistic testing term as it is, I feel like we all have used it, but we just didn't name it the same way. What I used before is like shifting left and right, which pretty much the same
It's the same
thing.
thing, right?
It's the same thing, yes. Like again, like shifting left and right. We are talking it in terms of our software lifecycle, right? For example, like Jira tracking, because Jira starts from the left and then we finish on the right when we deploy it, right? So like even after deploy it, we like need to make sure that we are on top of those. We have monitoring in place that allow us to make sure that the new feature is working and all ones are not broken.
Right.
And about requirements part, well, again, it's no secret to anyone that like if requirements are wrong, everything will be wrong. So if requirements are not clear, then it's very hard to build the right software.
Yes, I loved that she reiterated the importance of having everyone, in the room together with a shared understanding of what is expected from the requirements, not just the dev team, but also the business stakeholder side as well. And also she brought home the point about making sure that we are actually building something that the customers actually want, right? So that is also important, the customer feedback as well.
Yeah, we've talked about this, I think, before in the previous episode, where how do we define quality, right? I think
Right.
every team has a different definition of quality, and I love that she just went and made it so explicit that it is important for the team to understand what their own definition of quality is and have a very deep understanding, not a shallow understanding. So I love that point too. I think it's really important, and it's a pitfall that I've fallen into like many times in the past too, where I thought I knew what the definition of quality was, and you test something, and then in the same way that she mentioned that you go back to user acceptance testing, for example, and they fail it. There's like that's not what we asked for. So having that shared understanding is really important.
Yeah, I wanna switch the gears a little bit and talk about the way how we can introduce changes. And Lisa just like hit it to the bull's eyes. That like every change, like every team would resist the change. It's like no questions asked, right? It's always going to be a case, and only by changing small things
Little
we
by
can
little.
achieve, little by little. This is how we can achieve a significant change over time. I
Right.
love this thought, and it's like, it kind of crystallized that for me.
Yeah, because a lot of times people think, okay, we're going to implement this new thing and okay, I'm just going to present it to the team and we're all going to do it. And it
And
doesn't
then
normally
no.
work that way. No one will do it for multiple reasons, right? So I love it. You start with yourself. And a lot of times people don't necessarily start with themselves, right? It's like, okay, we're going to do this thing. Let's get together and do it. But you start by yourself, you do it. And you show the difference that it makes, someone else will follow. And then eventually you'll have that, exponential factor happening where everyone will eventually adopt the change and will see the benefits.
Yeah, I love that for sure, because it is truly leading by example, right? Everyone talks about you got to lead by example, but this is a very concrete example of doing exactly that, leading by example. And also when she talked about curiosity as well, about asking a lot of questions, and it's almost like she was gathering data to be able to show the team that, by using those tools, it would be a benefit to them as well. That's one of the things that I find with change management is that it's human nature that people don't like change. We are built like that. We prefer things to stay the way they are. But if we can take people on a
Creatures of
journey,
habits.
exactly, yes. And if we can keep asking questions and understanding where people are coming from and bringing them on a journey, I think that's that's the easiest way to bring about change, to show teams, to show people what's in it for them in a way. Like, how can this change help you deliver better software, deliver software easier, find less bugs in production, whatever it is that they are struggling with. By understanding what it is that they're struggling with, we can help them see that the change that we are bringing about can help with that as well.
And the cherry on top of that is networking, right? Build connections, because connections help you to influence without authority. Like
Absolutely.
when you need, right?
Yeah.
So build connections today to use them potentially tomorrow. You don't know if you will use them or not, but it's important. It's important for testers, like crucially important to have connections outside of testers team, like the first, like primary team.
Yep. And on that, I wanted to ask both of you, what are some ways that you've used to be able to actually increase your influence outside of the test team?
So one of the biggest things for me is I am not afraid to really understand the organization that I'm in, understand the different teams, right, outside of like development, but understand the whole structure of the org. And I am big on connections. So I will go out of my way to make sure that I have connections. And the way that I do it, especially now that I'm remote, is once I start a company, I'll start having one-on-ones. So I start having, one-on-ones, introduce myself, and just really get to know more about another team through one person. And then when I'm in a meeting with people from different teams, I use that as the opportunity to really say hi, introduce myself. And that's how you build the connections. That's how you get to know people. So it's not like you're going to go into the meeting and you're going to try to take it over and make it all about you, but you definitely take the opportunity to see who is in the meeting. It could be you don't get to talk to them in the meeting, but when the meeting is done, you send a quick Slack message to say, hey, it was great to hear you talk about this. I'd love to catch up with you for 15 minutes one day next week if you have some time. And that is how you build the connections. At least that's what
Lovely.
worked for me.
Yeah, for me, it's similar. The starting point for me can lay in different places. So first, it might be some big meeting, for example, all hands or something like that. So like someone like from the team that I'm not aware of is speaking. I was like, oh, okay, interesting concept. I would like to hear more of that. So I can reach out to them. Then it might be like cross-departmental meetings, just like, okay, we are discussing like big program, blah, blah. And well, I hear like people talking about this, and it's like might be related to work that I either potentially will be doing or already doing, or some ideas that I have been thinking about, and I want to connect with like-minded people and make sure that, well, by the way, we also think about this, so let's join efforts and do it together, right? And from those kind of projects, it's like a side projects, spin-offs. This is how like connections, most probably strong connections are built outside of the team. And additionally, through official and non-official mentorship. So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have been working in companies who had mentorship programs. So I was a mentor and a mentee both, usually in the program, and it helps to see people from other team. It helps to build those more humane connections. And well, last time when I had it, I actually happened to talk to an engineer who was working on the product that I needed to build the internal tool for later. I was like, wow, this is interesting.
Nice.
I even didn't realize. And this is how I stumbled upon on this like subject matter expert without knowing about that.
Yeah, those are great tips to kind of.
What about you, Ellie?
I've done the mentoring a lot. I think that's one of the main parts, like actually asking for mentors. I've also reached out to people, in other teams. When I join a new organization, I have like a bit of a playbook of the people that I want to reach out to once I get there. The first people I want to meet is my direct reports, my team, who is if I have any direct reports, those are my main concern. I want to know them. I want to know them personally. I want to understand what they're going through, and that's my first priority. Then after that, I want to meet peers, but not just peers within the engineering organization. Sometimes, if you have an environments person, if you have someone that works on a data team that's separate, or even on the product side, I like to meet them to understand what quality issues they are facing, even if it's not a
Right.
technical issue, right? So I think that makes my job a little bit easier as well. So I do like to go systematically through that list and kind of trying to meet people that need something from a new quality manager or a new quality director or whatever. So it's kind of a mutual relationship. I'm trying to understand the company through their lenses because they've been there before me, and they can tell me what is it that they've been struggling with that I may be able to help them with as well. So I try to use the first few months I'm in an organization to build some of those networks, and then I have a baseline of people that I can then go out to and ask, hey, do you know someone else that could help me with this? So just having that baseline. So,
And one thing that I love is companies that have different events, right? So events that employees volunteer to run. So whether it's like a tech talk or a lunch and
yes.
learn or whatever, where anyone can come to, those are normally good places to go to really network. So if your company offers those events, I recommend that you attend. It's a great starting point. And if they don't, it would be good for you to maybe start organizing those. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win there.
Absolutely. So I think we've gone over our debrief for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this first episode of the second season. We love having these types of conversations, and we hope that today's episode have given you something to reflect on and even maybe something to try on with your team. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yes. And if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to leave a review and share it with someone who is also passionate about getting to know more about quality or testing.
And we also have more amazing guests coming this season. So stay tuned, stick with us. You do not want to miss it. And also don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more insights and discussions. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also get more information on our website. You can find us at www.engineeringqualitypodcast.com. You can connect with us on LinkedIn at Engineering Quality Podcast. And from there, you'll find each of our personal LinkedIns if you want to connect with us as well. And then now that we're doing video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us there. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.